Um, the Nelson Mandela Capture Site, as the name says, it marks the exact location of where Nelson Mandela was captured by the apartheid police in 1962. So it's one of those historical moments that went down when one of our leaders in the country was arrested by the apartheid, specifically in the apartheid era. So it's a heritage site. It's when Nelson Mandela was captured. So the youth of South Africa and the people of South Africa need to know about our history, what happened before 1994, I can put it that way. They need to know the history behind the apartheid era, what was going down. Like if we say in the apartheid era, the South Africans, how were they treated? What they were expected to do during the apartheid? What areas that they were not supposed to go to? That they were supposed to carry the dome passes and all of that. So Nelson Mandela is the South African president who was elected in 1994. Is the one who was fighting against this kind of treatment against the South Africans, specifically the Black people. So he was prepared to go to prison for the freedom. So he was fighting for the freedom of all South Africans. So for the people to visit the capture sites, they need to acknowledge and also have an understanding that people, there are people who died and there are people who fought for the freedom. It didn't just come. It was not just handed to us. People died and people fought for it. People like Nelson Mandela, they were arrested. They spent years and years in prison for our freedom. So they need to be educated and have an understanding of what went behind. Okay, the sculpture, it's made up of 50 still, which are like between 6 and 9 meters long. And as you know, our tourists and visitors, they come to the capture site to specifically for the sculpture. If you say the sculpture, it's an image of Nelson Mandela. So there's the people that worked on the project. It was Marco Canfanielli and Jeremiah Rose. They were commissioned to design the sculpture. So they designed it. So it's permanent. It's there. It's made up of steel and of 50 steel, between 6 and 9.5 meters long. But visitors, you don't see it from the other side of the road. You have to come through the Nelson Mandela capture site. And as you approach, as you get closer to the sculpture, it changes, the image changes to Nelson Mandela's face. But from a distance, you don't see, just see this black steel, long steel, and you don't know, it looks like a forest from a distance. But as you approach the sculpture, it changes to Nelson Mandela's face. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful work of art. Like I said, it was commissioned to Marco Canfanielli and Jeremiah Rose. They worked on this project, so they designed it for the capture site. Okay, in the exhibition center, before this new exhibition center, we had an old museum, which was not as modern as this new one. This one is very, very modern to accommodate the youth and the times that we live in terms of technology and how it looks. It's beautifully designed, and it's a project. So the capture site it has projects that it works on in collaboration with the departments. So the COPTA is the one who funded the building, the museum. So commissioned some people to work on the design. So it's a beautiful exhibition center. As you come as you approach the exhibition center, the whole building, you will see there's a ticket office where visitors have to pay to go into the museum. We have very modern, the entrance doors, they are automatic, which sets it apart, because when visitors come through, they are like, wow. So the doors open and then you have to wait a bit and then for the other doors to open. So they're like, wow, you know? And as they walk in, as you understand, with the museums, the lighting is also different. It's not as light as my office is. The lighting, it's technologically advanced, because we have to set it somewhere on a computer, so just to so that it's not too bright when you come in. So it's a bit dark, and the first thing that the visitors see when they walk into the museum is the car that Nelson Mandela was driving in when he was pretending to be a chauffeur, when he was caught by the apartheid police in 1962. It's not a real car, it's a replica. So it's the same make, same model, same color, the number plate is the same. So the reason we put it there is for visitors to see what car was Nelson Mandela driving in when he was caught by the apartheid police. So you can even see from the design of the car that it's an old car. So they appreciate the car being there, and the first thing that they do is they take pictures. Oh, is this a car that Nelson Mandela was driving in when he was caught? So we have to explain to them everything leading to this picture. So, and also there's a big portrait of him, a very beautiful portrait of him, which was designed by, it was not designed, but it was a picture of him which was taken a while back, and our then director, he commissioned a co-op which is here on site. It's a group of ladies. They do beadwork to hand bead this portrait of Nelson Mandela. It took them about a year to complete the actual beading. So it's beaded. It's very, very beautiful. It's in black and white. So visitors, when they come in, they take photographs from the car in this portrait. And then when they're done, then they move into the actual exhibition. We call it a content exhibition, because that's where we have this beautiful, we call it a table. So it's a content of about eight chapters. So from chapter 1 to chapter 8, it tells about the history, from the history from when Nelson Mandela came about, like as a South African. It tells us about his history. So the chapter 1 talks about the world that shaped Nelson Mandela. So we have a content that was put together in that chapter, so the visitors, when they come, so it's not just the beautiful displays that they see, so they have to read the history so that they have an understanding. They have to understand this man that Nelson Mandela was. But it's not just about him. The content that we've captured in the exhibition, it talks about the history of Nelson Mandela in KZN and other people, other struggle stalwarts that he was with. So it's not just him, because you'll find somewhere it talks about Dr. Langalibalele Dube. So then we've captured a whole lot of content in there. So up to chapter 8. So it tells a whole history leading to his capture, talks about the Rivonia trial. So yeah, that's what visitors appreciate. And also we have a 360 surround system that plays different videos that were taken back in the apartheid era. So yeah, so people get to see what was happening, because one of the videos it was specifically in 1994 when Nelson Mandela was elected as the South African president. So yeah, that's what we have in the exhibition. And also when you move from this section, there's another exhibition area. It plays a video of youth that were interviewed on what they think of Nelson Mandela as a president, as a leader, as this man who fought for freedom. So in those times they were interviewing that then youth on what they think of Nelson Mandela. It's so beautiful. They appreciate the visitors. They really appreciate. They sitting there. So when they come with their children and with young adults, they're also sitting there. Feel like, oh wow, I wish I was part of this. You know, if I wish I was also interviewed. I wish I lived in the times of Nelson Mandela. So it's captured so beautifully. And then after they are done, then it moves out to start the long walk to freedom. So that we also have in between the museum and the sculpture, there is a beautiful garden, which is marked the long walk to freedom at the start of it. Then you have panels that are put on the long walk. They explain each and every year what was happening in Nelson Mandela's life. Between this year and that year, what was happening in Nelson Mandela's life. So you'll find visitors when they come back from the sculpture, they're like, oh wow, this really was a long walk to freedom, because they were all sweaty, wanting water, they're all tired. They're like, yeah, that's the point. You need to feel the long walk. So yeah, that's our exhibition. If I can start with internationally, as you understand, the international travel was closed, so we are not receiving any of our international visitors. But before COVID, we would get buses flooding into the capture site with tour guides bringing in international tourists to the capture site. We get a lot of support from international tourists, but after when COVID came, that's like it was like a total shutdown. The entire site was closed from March 2020 until mid August, because we had to apply for reopening, but only to the sculptures, understanding that it's an outside space. And we had to apply for reopening. So the whole site was closed due to COVID. But when we reopened in August, we received a lot of support from local visitors. They really, South Africans, they really came out in numbers from August. So in terms of, because remember I said in the beginning that we are now charging to come to the capture site. So we're in the ticket office when I said that. So the capture site suffered a lot of revenue loss during the closure of the site. But when we reopened, we sort of started to pick up from August. So between August and December 2020, the local visitors, if I say local, your KZN visitors, and then slowly Gauteng started to open as well. So they all flooded in, wanting to come to the capture site. So we really received a lot of support, and so we didn't feel that much of a gap from the international tourists because of the local tourists that supported us. Yeah, so even now, the international tourists, you only find the ones that have vaccinated and are willing to come to South Africa, so they are open to traveling. So yeah, we have those that are still international visitors that are coming to site now. But we are hoping that, I'm not sure how long it's going to take for the complete opening of the international travel. Then we'll start to get like buses flooding into the capture site as well. So like it's really one of those heritage sites that visitors are always looking forward to come to visit, because of it's where Nelson Mandela was captured. So everyone knows Nelson Mandela. They want to know this man, so yeah. As you understand, Nelson Mandela was captured here. We use the word capture. He was arrested. This is where he was arrested. The police, the apartheid police, they received the tip of from someone in the US that Nelson Mandela is in South Africa, and this is where he'll be traveling to. So if you arrive at this, let's say this is the R103 in Howick, this is where he'll be passing through at exactly this time. So so it was one of those what would I call it? Yeah, so but someone in the US contacted the police here in South Africa and gave them a tip of that Nelson Mandela will be passing through. So Nelson Mandela knew that the police are looking for him. So he pretended to be a chauffeur. So he was driving with someone else, Cecil Williams. We don't mention much of Cecil Williams, but it's there in the content when you go into the exhibition. I think there was a movie that came out on Cecil Williams. I can't remember the year. So, but we do make mention of him here on our exhibition, because to us it's important, because Nelson Mandela was not alone. He was with Cecil Williams, his fellow comrade. So Nelson Mandela was pretending to be a chauffeur when he was driving this car. So when the police stopped him here at this site that we call it Nelson Mandela picture site, the police asked him what his name was. So he had disguised himself as David Motamai. He said to the police, okay, my name is David Motamai. They asked for the passport. He had a fake passport because he had prepared for this day, but he just didn't know when it was going to happen. So he would carry this passport with him. So the police was like, no, you are Nelson Mandela. He tried to deny it. Eventually, they're like, no, you are Nelson Mandela. So that's when he was caught. So before he spent the next 27 years in prison, he was first detained in prison for 6 months with Cecil Williams, but in separate cells in Durban, awaiting his trial. So after that, we know about the Rivonia trial that took about a year, that saw him going to prison for the next 27 years. So to us, it's so significant because we are where we are because of how he fought for this country, how he fought for the freedom of our country, and that's where he was arrested. In fact, sometime in 1996, he came back to the site after he was released from prison. He came back to point the exact location of his capture. So that's how we got to know when Nelson Mandela was arrested. So he came back and he pointed to the police. We've got one of the videos, because a clip was taken of him speaking right at the spot where he was captured in 1996. Now he was telling the people that came to see Nelson Mandela, because everyone was excited. No, Nelson Mandela is back to where he was captured. So everyone was there, the police was there, were there, the communities, they all flooded in. So they were interviewing him. So he told them that this is where he was captured. He pointed the exact location of his capture, and then a monument was erected, was put up there to mark the exact location of his capture. And then right across the road from where he was captured, this is where I'm sitting now, right across from where Nelson Mandela was captured. This museum was opened to honor Nelson Mandela's capture.